everyone. Today I made my first Dandy's World OC since I felt really inspired after the Christmas update that just ended. I don't really have anything else to say for this intro, so let's just get to the OC creation process. For this project, I used Milanote to help organize my things. Not sponsored, by the way. I grabbed some photos of mushrooms, which my OC is loosely based on, mostly because of the gradients and the stem being a little lighter. And then I also used one called the Lactarius Indigo, I might have said that wrong, to come up with an idea for the name. I had the idea to either name it Indie, Rue, or Smoke, but I ended up going with Indie because I think it sounds the best. I have a bunch of clothes on here to help make several outfits. I didn't use all of them, but that's just more reason to make more skins later. I have a little image of a smoke bomb because that's what she's based on with her ability and everything. There's a little plushie on here, which is what I wanted her overall look to kind of resemble or somewhat look like. That's the most important part of the overall concept, so now let's move on to the skins. For the drawing process, I decided to make 4 different skins so I could get more use of the references I picked. For her normal skin, I made her outfit brown so that it wasn't too much blue or purple everywhere. She has socks kind of like Ginger, and her cheeks are the same color as her neck piece and her eyelids for more of a cohesive look. This stays true over all of her skins. The vintage skin is the exact same as the normal one, just fully blacked out and with the little eye slits that all of the vintage tunes have. For the spring skin, the outfit is now overalls instead of a dress. The most important part of this outfit for me was the rain boots and the flower crown to kind of relate her to Basie since I imagined the two would be friends. I made her yellow and purple because I thought those were pretty, iconic spring colors that weren't just more blue. And I think they do look nice together since they're opposites. And finally, the Christmas skin. I made this one because I drew it during the Christmas event and I wanted to color her like how more recognizable mushrooms look, so red and white. She has little pants that go over to go to her fancy shoes, and covering her neck piece is a little cute scarf, and I gave her little bows on the top of her head because a hat wasn't looking right. And there's little bells on them, but to make the gold not stand out too much, I then added a little design to her sweater so that also because it looked very blank. That's all for the skins, so now to the twisted designs. I ended up making a quick turnaround before the twisted design in case I ever decided to make a 3D model of Indy. There's not much to say about it because it's just the same as her normal skin. So now we can move on to the twisted design. For her twisted, I tried to add a little eye core everywhere, including on her feet and hands. She looks similar to her normal design, just slightly off, which was the goal. Some of her dress is gone, kind of like how Poppy's bow is a little unfixed in her twisted design. Her eyes are supposed to make her look guilty since as a normal toon she felt guilty for her ability, so that kind of carried over into her twisted form. I drew her walking and sitting since she will walk around the map and sit down every so often to emit debuffs onto players, kind of like how Gordy can give off any strengths but the exact opposite. And here's the twisted sheet I made, trying to explain all of the stuff that I just explained in words. Now, as for Indy's actual ability, Indy has the ability to exude smoke so that she will stun any and all twisteds from a certain radius for about 5 seconds. This would probably be usable every 35 or 45 seconds, similar to Scraps' cooldown. Since the ability depends on her being seen by twisteds, basically I made her only have 2 stealth. I made her extraction super high since she's pretty mellow and focused. She's pretty slow to account for her being a literal stun gun basically. So I gave her only 2 stars speed so that she's not overpowered or anything. And the other 2 stats were me just separating the remaining stars of the total 15, without making one too overpowered compared to the other. To buy her, you would need 50% of her research, and to use 10 smoke bombs since she is literally based on the item and her whole ability is basically it, just more specialized. And then you need 1,600 Ichor since that's how much most tunes around her ability rating are priced at. Now to explain how her trinket would work. Okay, for her trinket, it's a little lotion thing that can help you emit similar smoke to what Indy emits as her ability. But I didn't want it to be exactly her ability, like just another calming smoke or smoke bomb type thing. And I also didn't want it to be too similar to Flutter's Diary with it upping your stealth. So I decided instead it would lower the attention span of whichever Twisted is chasing the player. Pretty simple, but I tried to not make it too overpowered like most of the other trinkets that all have some limitation. That's all for now. I know there are a lot of different mushroom Dandy's World OCs, but I tried to make mine more separate from them. I really didn't look at anything like their abilities or stats or anything. I just looked at how they looked, and most of them were just red and white. So I think I'm in the clear with copying anybody. If you want me to make any more Dandy's World OCs, who knows, I might do that. Maybe I'll even draw other people's Dandy's World OCs. I really don't know. Alright, I gotta go now. Bye bye.